So, Saturday morning, game time. You wake up with that feeling of anticipation. Is it going to be a good day, a blue day? So you walk around Fulham Broadway, you see the stands up, the stalls up, everyone with the flags, the scarves, the banners, the anticipation on people's faces of whether it's going to be a great day. Then, of course, you walk round to the grounds, put your ticket in, and you're in that ground. The liquidators playing, the fans are getting ready. And then the team comes out and it's for 90 minutes, you're just in a blur.
Driving the ball, oh no! Clements puts his head in his hands and Clive Walker.
I looked away and I turned around and watched 40,000 Chelsea fans' reaction. My mate Paul, who was with me, was trying to spin me around and saying, "You've got to watch it, you've got to watch it." And I was saying, "No, I'm not watching it, I'm not watching it. If I watch it, we'll miss it."
He's done it! The greatest night in the history of Chelsea Football Club. European champions.
Kelvin Barker, a young 50, started supporting Chelsea when I was 5 years old, went to my first game in December 1970 when I was 5, and been going ever since. First game, December the 5th, 1970, beat Newcastle United 1-0. Keith Weller scored the only goal.
Harris, Cook, Houseman, Hutchinson, Osgood. Beautiful ball, Weller!
So they're expecting a big welcome from the Stamford Bridge crowd. There's only one change from the team which won at Orient in midweek, and that's at number 5, where Mickey Troy returns for the injured Colin Pates. Pulls it back, Villeray! Can't save Walker!
My passion is the 80s. I was 14 when 1980 came around, and obviously through to 24. So that 10-year period was my real passion of supporting Chelsea. Very different type of club. Where we're standing now still existed. It was the Bovril Gate. It took you straight into the shed. You went up some steps and you were immediately overlooking the pitch, and the buzz you got from walking up those steps, people still talk about it to this day. But a very different atmosphere, more hostile, far less corporate.
I suspect they came fearful that Chelsea might find it too hard a job today with a weakened side. They must be overjoyed with what's happened in front of them today. 2-0 up.
I'm Rev Mibbs. I've been a Chelsea fan for 45 years now. First game I ever see, in fact, was Chelsea v Saints here at the Shed. My old man was a Saints fan, but I fell in love with the blue and been there ever since. The ground's changed over the years, we've had new stands put in, and now the atmosphere here is nothing like the old 70s and the 80s, what we used to have. People moan about it now, but social networking's destroyed football. The greatest game I ever went to, apart from Munich, of course, there's a few. Grimsby away, when we took the Hall end over, swapped them away. Our first cup final in a long time in '94, even though we got hammered, it was just a glorious day out in the rain. Everyone was together, it was just brilliant. The party atmosphere, the flags, the singing, the lot. And we sung all game even though we lost 4-0. So there's just many points. It's not just about winning trophies or whatever. It's, like I said, atmospheric games. The relegation games against Middlesbrough. Great atmosphere in there. Result was terrible, but what a day that was.
Back in the day, all I wanted to do was have that day out at Wembley, win an FA Cup, and we never really came too close as I was growing up. We won it in 1970, I was 5, I barely remember it. In fact, I was 4 when the game was played, and I vaguely remember it. In 97, the sun shone, it was a beautiful morning, the whole day stayed warm and sunny. We got to the ground, pretty much took our seats. There was 10 men went to Mo that happened just before kick-off. We almost basically didn't get to sit down at the end of it because we were up again, because Di Matteo had got the ball, run through the middle, 42, 43 seconds, whatever it was, hit the shot off the bar, and at that point we'd won the game. You know, we'd won it in less than a minute.
76,000 in Wembley today. Great occasion and a fabulous atmosphere. Well, let's take a check on the two cup final teams, starting with Chelsea, who line up then with Norwegian Frode Grodash in goal. Wise for Chelsea. Rolled on to Di Matteo. Hughes making an angled run ahead of him and opened up some space. And a goal! Oh, fantastic start! Roberto Di Matteo! Inside 45 seconds.
Well, that was it. Zola going on his own. He's got Hughes the other way. He's taking on Vickers and Blackmore. He's gone past the road. It's Zola. Hughes pulling towards the near post now. It's still Zola. Fantastic run. Great serve.
Now Newton to take it on. It's got Petrescu ahead of him. And Hughes. This is Petrescu. And Zola. It's in. Eddie Newton has made it 2 for Chelsea. And surely now the cup is theirs. It's quite an extraordinary season. That's it. The FA Cup belongs to Chelsea.
Well, for me, winning the FA Cup was the holy grail. People talked about winning the league, and that was the ultimate, and I'm sure it was, and we know nowadays it is.
Is this actually better than when you beat Liverpool?
It's a lot better. I've been waiting a long time to win something with this club. You know, they've waited 26 years, and my ambition in life was to, when I joined it, was to win something, a major trophy, and we've won one at last. And I can get the Yeti on there. Look at the Yeti. Yay!
They know what they have to do. Big names for the big game. And it's not just about finance. These players want the competitive element of competing with Europe's finest next season.
Murphy. Curled in. Herpy is in there! And yes! He's given Liverpool a goal! How vital is that? The Liverpool skipper strikes early. 11th minute. Gronkjar. And a header into the corner of the net. It's Marcel Desailly. Would you believe it?
Here's Gronkjar, got away from Russo.
Obviously, at the point that Roman came in and bought the club, we had just qualified for the Champions League, but we'd done it against the odds. Everybody knew that we had some serious financial problems. Really, I don't know that we knew just the extent of how bad it was at the time, but obviously it all changed in the blink of an eye. I was at home, my wife came in and told me, I was actually at home writing my book, and my wife came in and disturbed me while I was doing it and said, "Have you seen the news?" I said, "No." What's going on? She said, "A Russian has just bought Chelsea and he's a billionaire." And I said, "I knew nothing about it." I went on the Chelsea chat page on the internet and people were talking about it, and it soon became obvious that things were changing. Ken Bates went on Chelsea TV, I think the following day, and said it's all going to change. Life is changing entirely for Chelsea now. And that summer it just all went bonkers. We'd gone from a club who the year before hadn't been able to sign anybody and had brought one player in on loan who was poor. You came to the game, the first home game of the season against Leicester, and the buzz around the place was incredible, and the team was different. Suddenly Frank Lampard and John Terry were on the bench, and we had these other players coming in to replace them. Obviously they got back into the team and did what they did and made history. But it was an incredible summer, and you knew immediately that something was changing.
We have top players, and I'm sorry, I'm a bit arrogant, we have a top manager. So I'm not one of of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
This is long throw, and it's gone through to Drogba!
It's all going to change. Life is changing. Champions League final. I've been in Moscow in 2008 and almost a similar kind of scenario to the 94 and 97 FA Cup finals. Moscow was cold, it was a cold day, it was a bleak day, it poured with rain all day, wasn't meant to be. We obviously should have won that game, we had the kick to win it, didn't happen. And when John Terry actually missed his penalty, I was watching, I watched the pitch and the guy in front of me was looking at me. And I was the one who actually was able to say to him, unfortunately, he's fucking missed it, which is actually what my actual words were. So to then have the near miss the following year when we should have beaten Barcelona down here, and obviously whatever happened, but we were denied the opportunity to get to the final again. And then 3 years later, that bizarre season under Villas-Boas, where we were a shambles for much of the time. We scraped through at certain stages in the Champions League.
Ramirez. In towards Didier Drogba! He's in the game now! Lampard takes it towards Terry! To score to stay in the Champions League. Lampard. Yes! Good turn. Ivanovic!
So we were going out against Napoli. We pulled that one round in extra time. And then obviously the whole Barcelona semi-final, which was absolutely ridiculous, to go there to be 2-0 down and down to 10 men, and that happened. And it was just an all-round fantastic day, really. Obviously one that we'll never forget. Probably the greatest night of my life, and I don't think there's any probably about it, actually. It was the greatest night of my life, and we were achieving a dream, something that was never really something we never really thought about. Even in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, when we qualified for the Champions League and we were back in Europe again, I don't think we ever really thought we were going to win the Champions League until Roman bought the club, and then we suddenly thought, yeah, it's on. It was just a very strange night. Obviously, we had to set up in such a way that if we'd have gone for the game, we probably would have been vulnerable, so we set up quite defensively. You had Bazingwa in there, you had Ryan Bertrand playing, making his European debut. So many big boys missing from the team, and we nullified the threat of Bayern largely.
It's been that sort of season. I don't think we'll ever see a better season than this, and you would think if Chelsea could win tonight, could they do it in such spectacular fashion?
Obviously, when they scored with 8 minutes left and Thomas Muller was getting the crowd up and Arjen Robben was doing what he was doing with the crowd, which I found a little bit disrespectful considering he had a good relationship with the Chelsea fans here. But we all thought it was over at that point. But Drogba, the man again, we got that corner, Torres got that corner, and that alone was worth £50 million. Mata swung it in, Drogba at the near post.
Drogba!
And the funny thing about that goal is when you watch it in slow motion, if Boateng hadn't given Drogba a shove in mid-air, I'm not sure he'd have got the momentum to head the ball quite so well as he did. He got that little shove, got his head on it, 1-1. And in all honesty, I still don't think at that point I thought we were going to win it, but I thought, well, we'll take it to extra time and you never know. Cech saved the penalty from Robben, which I found particularly enjoyable, given that Robben had been stirring the fans up a bit. And then it went to penalties, and again you sort of thought penalties in Chelsea, it's not just a German-England thing, it's a Chelsea thing. Our record in penalty shootouts is so poor, but on that day, even though Mata missed the first one, from then on they were 4 great penalties, and Cech obviously went the right way for every kick that they took. And on the night, I don't think he got the credit for saving Schweinsteiger's penalty, but when you see it again, when you watch it back, he got a touch on that as well, which was a fantastic save. And then you've got Drogba stepping up to take that last penalty, knowing that if he scores it, we win the Champions League.
Didier Drogba, I'm going to say it now, it is written in the stars.
He's done it! The greatest night in the history of Chelsea Football Club, European champions.
And so what I did, having been in Moscow and watched John Terry miss, I looked away, and I turned around and watched 40,000 Chelsea fans' reaction. My mate Paul, who was with me, was trying to spin me around and saying, "You've got to watch it, you've got to watch it." And I was saying, "No, I'm not watching it, I'm not watching it. If I watch it, we'll miss it." And so the way I saw it going was by 40,000 Chelsea fans getting up in the air and just going delirious. And that was good enough for me. And what a night that was. We actually were on a flight back home, so we spent an hour or so in the ground, and then we made our way back to the airport. We were an hour late for our flight, but it hadn't taken off. And in fact, there was somebody who was even later than us. Got home about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was lucky enough, I've got a very understanding wife, and I walked in and I said, "That was the greatest night of my life." And she said, "Yeah, I know it was."
With so much stress, but we didn't mind it. Now we live on the edge of great success, and we quite like it. You gotta believe that we are proud of what you've done, and no matter what, we're gonna be the champions. And we'll be there as we are now. Till our dying day, just look 'Cause Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea is the way. Chelsea, Chelsea.